This video is brought to you by SpiritBots. They offer some of the fastest, most reliable trading bots, so be sure to check them out in the description below. Hey guys, it's Pyro here, and I've been getting a lot of comments and questions asking me how to decide if it's a good deal or not. So in today's video, I just wanted to give you guys some advice and talk about how I go about making sure that I'm going to make profit from a particular trade. So most of the guys who are asking this question already have an unusual or an item that they are wanting to sell and just need a little bit of help with choosing a trade that will allow them to make profit. So in this video, I'm going to be teaching you my thought process when selling an item, and just for tutorial purposes, I'm going to be using my scorching glove as an example for the item that I want to sell. So there are two main ways that you will ever sell an item, and this is with pure or with items. So firstly, I'll cover pure because this is much more straightforward in deciding whether you're going to make profit or not. The first thing I would recommend doing is setting up a little list of unusuals that you've bought, as well as the price that you paid for them. This is actually really handy because if you write down the amount of keys that you paid for the unusual, you basically just have to sell it for any more than that. So let's say I bought my scorching glove for 40 keys and someone offers 45 keys on it. I would honestly just accept that because I would have made 5 keys profit. For someone to pay pure for an unusual is pretty rare, but as I always say, profit is profit. Don't expect someone to pay the full price in pure on your unusual, especially in lower tier unusual trading. I remember when I would just accept any offer that was over 1 key higher than what I paid for it. I guess the main point that I'm trying to get across here is that if you get an offer that is higher than what you paid for it, just take it. I see way too many people waiting for the perfect offer on their unusual, and in that time, they could have just made more profit. Okay, so the second way you might have to sell an item is with item overpay, and I know when I first started trading, and even when I first got into unusual trading, I had a really hard time with deciding if an offer was good or not, so hopefully I can help you guys with making sure that you get good item overpay on your unusuals or whatever item you're trying to sell. Now there are 5 things that you should always check before even considering accepting an offer. The one thing that you should always know is that the price listed on backpack.tf is not always what people are selling it for. So firstly, check what other people are selling the unusual or the item for. If it is priced on backpack.tf for 30 keys and they're selling it for 20 keys, then you should value it at 20 keys. This might show that they are really desperate to get rid of it. Another thing to check for is how long they've owned it or had it listed for. You can do this by going to the trade on Outpost and looking in the top right corner of the information box, or on backpack.tf you can see it by clicking on the time that it was last bumped. So the reason you should check how long they've had it on sale for is because if they've had the unusual for a few months, it's probably a really hard hat to sell, which is something that you should keep in mind when deciding its actual price. The third thing to check for is if it's inflated. Inflated unusuals are pretty much just unusuals that are a bit overpriced. For example, this terawatt killer's Kabuto is double the price of its kilowatt counterpart. And if we look at the average prices for the effects, these two effects are usually really close. So by looking at this, we can see that you shouldn't really expect to get 62 keys out of it, and more along the lines of 30 to 40 keys. Another thing to look out for is if there is a price suggestion on it. You can do this by hovering over the unusual on backpack.tf, click stats, and then scroll down to recent suggestions. I've made the mistake of accepting a really good quick sell discount off the backpack.tf price, and then it got price suggested down to the exact same price that I paid for it. So just make sure they aren't just trying to get rid of the unusual and giving you a really good deal. And finally, the last thing that you should check for is if it's duped. Duped unusuals are usually a bit harder to sell and should be priced a bit less than clean versions. But sometimes it doesn't really matter, it's just something to keep in mind. So after checking all of these things and making sure that it's a good unusual to buy, look at its price, and if it's higher than yours, just make the trade. When I was doing my Nothing to Something series, I was on a streak of about 5 trades where I just did 1-for-1 trades with unusuals and slowly made profit just by swapping with unusuals of slightly higher value. But anyway guys, that's pretty much what I think about before accepting a trade, and I hope that I've helped you in some way. If you have any ideas for videos on trading tips, feel free to leave a comment below. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe for more of my future videos, and I hope you have a nice day.